One of the biggest mistakes and the way that you instantly lose credibility is to get stuck in the weeds with all these details, especially if you're talking to senior management. They don't want to know how. They want to know, what is it? What's it going to do for us? What's our return?
You wrote a book on knockout presentations. I mean, who doesn't need to know how to do a knockout presentation? And of course, how much you can benefit by doing it great. So let's just, please, Diane, take it away. What's your book about? I mean, it's about knockout presentations, but let's talk about your book and some of the great takeaways for the audience.
Well, you're absolutely right. Everybody needs this book. And I wrote it as a seminar in a book, so that it's the next best thing to having me there. Because here's what happens. People will say to me, well, I'm not a public speaker, because they think it's standing at a stage.
Right, in front of 1,000 people.
Exactly. But I always say to them, do you leave voicemails? Do you give updates at meetings? That's all public speaking. And your presentation will make or break your career. So it behooves everybody to be an effective speaker, because what I've discovered now, which was not true years ago, speaking is the new competitive advantage. You can
That's a great point.
Yeah, you can no longer be without this skill.
So just to walk me through this, someone goes and presents in a corporate boardroom in front of 15 people. You're classifying that also as public speaking?
Absolutely, and that's a high-stakes kind of presentations, which is where I specialize. Right. So it's really important. It doesn't matter whether you're speaking one-on-one or to 1,000. It is all public speaking.
So now, share with us some of the, and of course, the best is to go and buy the book. Where is it available? How can they get it?
It's available on Amazon and online. And it's for anybody from a college student to a CEO.
And again, it's called Knockout
Presentations.
So share some of your secrets, Diane.
Well, one of the biggest mistakes people make is lack of focus. Their ideas go all over the place. So I show you very simply how to get laser-like focus, and I'll give you the formula right now.
That's great. You're hearing it here on Mind Your Business on 77 WABC.
One sentence. At the end of the presentation, the audience will blank. That answer is your outcome. So when you're crystal clear about your outcome, then everything you deliver and develop after that is going to help you stay on target. Just don't be like someone in the audience who once said, the outcome for me is the audience will applaud. Well, that's very nice. That's not an outcome. Right. And most people are not clear about what they're doing, so it helps you get focused. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you need to be crisp. One of the biggest mistakes and the way that you instantly lose credibility is to get stuck in the weeds with all these details, especially if you're talking to senior management. They don't want to know how. They want to know, what is it? What's it going to do for us? What's our return? So the more you can get to the point more quickly, the better.
Great point. In fact, we had a guest on our show, Mark Bodner, who used to discuss, who said it here on the air. That's a great point. He said, don't get stuck in so many details in a presentation. He says, they've been to your website. If they're meeting with you, they've done some level of homework. So, like you're saying, put it into the presentation, express, but don't get stuck in the details.
Exactly. So I talk about the sandwich technique. How do you create a speech sandwich? Well, if you think of a sandwich, the top and the bottom of the roll is the same dimension, but the thickest part is for the meat.
Right.
So you don't want to start with having your salami and turkey on top of the roll. So you want to sandwich your major messages in the middle. So that's important.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure you've been asked this question many times. What is the role of PowerPoint in a corporate presentation?
I think we've been PowerPointed out, but it is popular. I use it myself, but people use it as a script, and it's really meant to be an aid. The key word in visual aid is aid.
I love it.
So the biggest mistake are people reading it. So here's what I say. Reference, but don't read. If you have all that data on it, which is the corporate style, they take a whole deck and they simply put it on PowerPoint, then you have to read. But if you just put a few key bullets, you can look at it and then present. So that's key. Let it be an aid.
Diane, this is really fantastic. Any other takeaways? Because, I mean, what you're discussing here, like you mentioned, and like some of the previous guests, like we had Mitch, selling, presenting is key. And anyone that doesn't understand and just wires their mind that, okay, I'm not speaking in front of 1,000 people, so I don't need to be a public speaker, doesn't realize the critical nature that in every presentation going into a corporate boardroom, you're presenting, and you have to make sure. any other final takeaways for the listeners of Mind Your
It
Business?
doesn't have to be hard. People complicate it. I give people a simple formula. I call it the Yam Formula, Y-A-M. Know yourself, know your audience, know your message. Everything you need to know falls into one of those three buckets. And it's really critical that you align your visual, vocal, and verbal messages. Because what I've discovered is leaders, the best speakers, the best communicators are all in alignment, giving off one consistent message.
77 WABC Radio presents Mind Your Business, hosted by founder and president of Bottom Line Marketing Group, Yitzhak Saflis. Mind Your Business focuses on business and marketing strategies for success.